second paper in this seminar looking at Central and Eastern Europe. This is Zdravko Dimitrov, who is an associate professor in the Department of Antiquities in the National Institute of Archaeology and Museum in the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences in Sofia since 2001. He has been head of more than 10 rescue excavations along infrastructure projects in modern Bulgaria, and has been head of the regular excavations of Roman towns in Ratiaria, Bononia, and a sanctuary in Rhodopis. He's going to be talking today from a perspective of infrastructure archaeology and medieval rural settlement about the necropolis from the end of the 14th century in the territory of the Kingdom of Vidin. So, Zdravko, stage is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, dear colleagues, I want to thank Professor Karen Lewis about the invitation to join your research group. We met last year in World Archaeological Congress in Prague, so thank you very much again, because it's a very good new opportunity for me and for my colleagues from Bulgaria to join the group. It's very important for archaeology and for us also, because in the last 15 years we have plenty of rescue excavations along all these infrastructure projects in Bulgaria, and we need to continue studying them and to save and research the data from this excavation. As you could see here, from many of the sites in the Bulgaria, northern and southern Bulgaria, we have almost all periods of historical development of the Balkan lands. So I'll start here with the archaeological site near Gramada. It is a Vidin district. It's one site very close to the Serbian-Bulgarian border in the most northwestern part of Bulgaria. And this site is placed just here between the very strong and very well-known Roman centers of empire, Castor, Martis, Bononia, and Ratiaria. Here for a real photo of the site. In the past and also now in the modern times, it is agricultural fields and a little forested area. It's very well used for these rural settlements in antiquity, and also by continuation also in the medieval period. The whole site is very long, more than 1 kilometer along the pipeline of the so-called South Stream infrastructure project. You know very well this whole European project for gas made in Bulgaria in 2009 and 2020. Now the pipeline is finished, and in this topography and surroundings of the site, we found almost the remains of almost all the historical periods from Neolithic to late medieval. Like example, we have late Neolithic and early Chalcolithic settlement, early Bronze Age, Middle Bronze, also late Bronze Age with settlement and necropolis, early Iron pits. From Roman period, we have one Roman Villa Rustica and whole necropolis. And the most important from our presentation here is medieval structures. There are two kinds and with a different chronology from the 9th century settlement remains, from rural settlement, and the whole necropolis from the end of the 14th century. We started with the geophysical research to clear the main points of our archaeological structures, but it will be also very difficult because, you know, the line is more than 1 kilometer long, and the whole territory of surveyed area is 42 acres at all, but we are concentrated in the central sector of the site, where are the most important and well visible structure. As you see here, we divided the whole infrastructure site to the 3 main sectors: western, central, and eastern. In all these sectors we have archaeological remains. As I told you before, late Neolithic from 6th millennium before Christ. I will jump here just for 3-4 slides. Neolithicum is pits and a few dwellings. with the very important remains of the dwellings from the late Neolithicum, zoomorphic tables, and some other things. We have also a Middle Bronze era, very well preserved with ceramics, also debris of the Bronze era buildings, many jugs and some other ceramics from Bronze period. From late Bronze era, we have also necropolis in that area with cremation, and you could see here the urn very well pictured with some things. From early Iron Age, we have pits with ceramic sherds and also a huge ceramics in the chronology from the 11th, 10th century before Christ. The main structures in this area near to the Grmada village is remains from a Roman villa rustica. We have one very well preserved workshop for iron tools, also the whole structure of the villa, and the big ritual necropolis from the 3rd, 4th century with 42 graves with many finds and very rich inventory in the graves from the Roman period. And the main point, of course, for my presentation here in your research group of rural settlements of infrastructure project in Central and Eastern Europe are the medieval period that we found here on the site. As I told before, the chronology of these two periods are 9th, maybe beginning of the 5th and 10th century, and the second is one very well excavated and whole excavated necropolis from the end of the 14th century. The dwellings from the first kind of structures from the rural settlement 9th, 10th century are on the western and eastern sector, and necropolis from the 14th century are placed over the remains of the Roman Villa Rustica in the center of the whole archaeological site. I'll start with the medieval period, 9th, 10th century. It's a rural medieval settlement from the period of the First Bulgarian Kingdom. It's, for example, if you connect with the historical evidences, the 9th century is the period of rule of the Bulgarian King Simeon and his successor Peter I, with so much wars and conflicts with the Byzantine Empire. The dwellings are from exactly this period, and they are part of Bulgarian country in the north part of Danube Plain. As I told before in the beginning, the most western part of Danubian Plain, after the gorge of the Danube in Iron Gates. Position of this dwelling catch and studied in the excavations are in the western and eastern sector of the site. This semi-dug dwelling in western sector is very well preserved, and we found this dwelling dug into the ground in the sterile level, and we have a chance here to found and to document it all the structure. As you see here, it's very little, made with a square shape. Almost 4 meters of each side are the length of the sides of this semi-dug dwelling. The interior is, as you see, made of one hearth in the corner and 3 chronal stones placed and found in situ. Here is the level of finding of the structure and its filling. Hearth is in the corner, made by rough stones and a little up over the floor of the semi-dug dwelling. The methodology of our excavation is to cut the structure with the vertical cross section and to reach the floor level. After that, we finally, after real documentation, we finally excavated everything in the structure and collect the finds from the interior. In the cross section, you could see that this semi-deck dwellings from the 9th century is not so deep. They are 40-50 centimeters from the level, and the earth is a little up in height, maybe 60-70 centimeters over the floor level of the whole house, the whole semi-deck dwelling. Rough stones and chromal stones are all interior of this house from medieval period. Here in the end of the excavations in this square B71, we have a general view of the medieval dwelling as it situated and found in situ on the terrain. Photo and graphic drawings of the dwelling and its hearth. It's very interesting that in this house we don't have so much materials and finds. There are a few pieces of ceramics of jars with the absolutely sure it's connected with the kitchen and cooking inside the dwelling, and there are no other finds like metal finds, iron instruments and tools, some others. There are only a few ceramic shards inside. In the eastern sector, we have stone destructions, probably from another semi-deck dwelling, but here it's not so good chance to have the whole structure in excavation and to documentate it, because there are agricultural activities in the fields near Gramada also today. So we found this second dwelling much more destroyed, not like the first one. But it should be from the same rural settlement from the 9th century. Medieval destructions are into the graves, also places are into the graves from the Roman necropolis. So here we have a mixture. We have a little covering of different chronological periods from antiquity and from medieval ages. And we can see here on the general plan that the debris destructions from the medieval semi-deck dwelling are placed exactly into the stone structures from the Roman necropolis. But we succeed to distinguish them. As you see from the next slides, it's totally different, because the destructions from a medieval settlement, probably from the heart of the semi-deck dwelling, are different from the stones surrounded the pits from the Roman necropolis around. We have the stones, building ceramics placed and fell in this semi-deck medieval dwelling from the earlier necropolis, and also we have here the chance to have much more finds from medieval period than in the first dwelling. Here we have idea that here is the probable place of the real hearth inside the second semi-deck dwelling of Gramada. And as I told before, the ceramic pieces and the whole ceramic material from this house is much more well visible and documented, well, like the ceramic pieces from the first house. All this kind of medieval ceramic, they dated to 9th century, most likely not more than the beginning of the 10th century. The third structure, it's a very huge medieval necropolis from the end of the 14th century. I want to tell you that here is the first necropolis in the Vidin region, excavated by archaeological excavation, by the rescue archaeological excavations from the period of late medieval. Here we have inventory, the jewelry, and also the coins in the graves that dated the whole cemetery in the 4th century. After that, then in the real end of the 14th century, where is the last decades of the Second Bulgarian Kingdom, just before the fall under the Ottoman Empire in 1396. As I told before, the old graves are into the line of the gas pipeline, so we have a chance to excavate all the graveyard, and we have 140 graves placed in the structures of the Roman villa and around the Roman villa. As it's shown here, you could see the residential building of Roman Villa Rustica, workshop for island tools, and the position of the graves from Necropolis. The ritual is Christian. All the graves are orientated west-east, and the constructions of the graves are regular pits, some of them surrounded by stones, and a few of these grave pits we have evidences from wooden coffins. Here, from a real photo, you could see the central sector of medieval necropolis, where the concentration of the graves are very big. It was a tough archaeological work to excavate for 3 months 140 graves. Every day we have 8-9 archaeologists from the team working in graves to documentate them and to collect and save the finds. The grave constructions, there, as I told, grave pits with few data for wooden coffins. Other constructions are regular pits and pits fenced with rough stones, many of them taken by the Roman constructions. Many of the burial places are inside and over the previous Roman villa. Some of them also dug into the real building of Roman villa, in the walls and in the floors from the building from 3rd, 4th century. One of the best preserved graves are grave number 65, with the adult male human with orientation east to west. Other graves, many of them are in not so good condition because of the soil and the whole agricultural activities in these lands near Gramada. But one of the important lines in the excavations here are that in many of the graves there presentation of the silver denars, coins from the first Wallachian rulers like Radu I, Radu I, and Vlad I, also rulers from the end of the 14th century, beginning of the Wallachian rules north of the Danube, and they have many connections with the despotate and the Kingdom of Vidin. So here in this necropolis, we have direct evidences from these connections between Bulgarian kingdom and the Wallachian rulers in the 1670s of the 14th century, where also here we have so much problems with the Hungarian Empire, and when the Wallachian rulers take the side of Bulgarian King Ioan Sracimir and came here to liberate again the town of Vidin. So here in the rural settlement we have many coins of Wallachian rulers, also the coins of the last Bulgarian King Ioan Sracimir, who ruled the country from Vidin. The destination between this settlement and Vidin is just 20-25 kilometers. Grave number 3 are little pieces of food near the school. It's direct evidences for the coffins of some of the graves. Also, we have the graves with 2 human individuals with remains of mother with child, and maybe sometimes 2 adult individuals also. Here is the most central sector of necropolis, where the concentration of the graves are very big, and this a grave with finds with coins from the end of the 14th century. here is one of the grave with 2 individuals, and next to them again the other grave. So in some places we have the humans buried one next to other, and grave inventory, it's very rich, and we have the earrings in more than 20 of graves. Here in grave number 9, the best preserved grape shaped silver earrings, typical for the second half of the 14th century in northern Bulgaria, not so here in our land, also to the along the Danube flow. Find number 9, grave number 1, also it's typical for the 14th century, and it's well dated also with the coins of the Bulgarian ruler Ivan Sratsimir presented in the graves. The next grave with 39 is again with silver earrings. You could see them here after well done restoration of the finds, and because here we speak about the infrastructural project and preserving of the sites and finds. Now all these finds are collected. They were in the exhibition 2 years ago, and now they're collected in the Museum of Vidin. And I think that they will be presented in the temporary exhibition again in this year. I hope to do so. We have also the spherical form earrings before and after restoration with the azure technique. They are not so common like the other with the grave shape form, and also we have a good chance to have them in situ next to the schools of the graves. As I thought, they have an analogies everywhere, also in Serbia and Romania, but the most close geographical and chronological parallel is treasure from Montana, just 40-50 kilometers to the south, and it's well dated and published medieval treasure of earrings and other jewelry from the end of the 14th century, also with presence of all these earrings with spherical form, with grape shape, and azure technique made earrings, not only silver, also with bronze material.
Got 2 minutes.
Yes, I'm on the final, just a 5 slide. Thank you. In medieval necropolis, numismatics is very important. This well preserved collection of the Kingdom of Vidin, the last part of Bulgarian kingdom at the end of the 14th century. Here I show you just a more precise view, the coins of Ivan Sratsimir and Wallachian rulers. Preliminary results of the our anthropological research. You could see here the individuals, children, adults, matters, and some others, but the most interesting is the gender representation ratio between male and female. You could see here 72% to 28 for the male individuals buried in this necropolis. Again, age gender representation by over the ages. And finally, we can, and we want to thank you for all your attention in this interesting research group studies. Thank you very much for everything.